The most terrifying kind of man isn't the one who seeks power or dominance. It's the one who doesn't need either, a man who has nothing to prove and nothing to lose because he has already found everything he needs within himself. In a world where people chase validation, climb social ladders, and cling to the illusion of security, there exists a rare breed of men who do none of the above, the Sigma male. He moves in silence, not because he lacks direction, but because he doesn't require an audience. His presence alone is enough to disrupt the invisible structures of social order, leaving people unsettled, curious, yet wary. Why? Because humans fear what they can't categorize, what they can't predict, and what they can't control. The Sigma male is the embodiment of the unknown, operating outside the social hierarchy, indifferent to the games that consume others. He is a man who refuses to conform, not out of rebellion, but out of sheer disinterest in the rules society tries to impose on him. This makes him dangerous, not in a violent or reckless way, but in a way that forces people to question their own existence. His quiet confidence is deafening. His piercing insight cuts through deception. His self-sufficiency renders manipulation useless. He doesn't chase approval, yet people feel an almost gravitational pull toward him. He is a paradox, calm yet powerful, detached yet magnetic, reserved yet undeniably dominant in his own way. And the irony? He's not even trying. While others scramble for attention, recognition, and validation, the Sigma male exists in his own reality, unmoved, untamed, and unstoppable. His presence alone shakes people to their core because it reminds them of an unsettling truth. The most powerful man in the room is the one who isn't seeking power. Get ready, because today we're diving into 8 things Sigma males do that unnerve everyone around them. By the end, you might just realize you've been doing them too. Number 1. You refuse to be manipulated. Society thrives on emotional manipulation, guilt trips, peer pressure, and the overwhelming force of groupthink. These tools are designed to control and conform, ensuring that people stay in line with collective expectations. But you, Sigma, are different. You don't bend to emotional coercion. You make decisions based on logic, principles, and self-awareness rather than the fleeting influence of others' opinions. And that, my friend, makes you a nightmare for manipulators. Manipulators thrive on emotional leverage. They push guilt, shame, and fear onto others to get their way. A typical person might cave in when faced with emotional blackmail, whether it's a friend demanding loyalty, a boss pressuring for unpaid overtime, or society dictating how one should live. But Sigma males operate on an entirely different wavelength. They analyze situations rationally, stripping emotions from the equation when necessary. This makes them virtually immune to tactics that rely on manipulation. People fear what they cannot control, and a Sigma male is the epitome of that fear. Without the ability to manipulate your emotions, they lose all power over you. This independence threatens those who rely on control dynamics, whether in relationships, workplaces, or social circles. Instead of being a pawn in their game, you are the enigma they cannot figure out, the puzzle that refuses to be solved. That's why Sigmas often find themselves at odds with authority figures, manipulative people, or social groups that demand conformity. You don't seek approval, you don't need validation, and you certainly don't let others dictate your choices. You are untouchable, and that makes you not just respected, but feared. Number 2. You are mysteriously unpredictable. One moment you're there, fully present, the next, you vanish like a shadow slipping through the cracks. You don't follow the usual social scripts, don't announce your plans, and certainly don't wait for permission or validation. This alone is enough to make people uneasy. Why? Because human beings crave predictability. It's wired into our psychology. The brain loves patterns, routines, and certainty. It makes life feel safe. You disrupt that equation. You move on your own time, in your own way, without explaining yourself. And that shakes people. The fear of the unknown is one of the most primal anxieties humans experience. Studies in psychology show that unpredictability triggers the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing fear and threats. When people can't predict your next move, it creates tension. It forces them to question their assumptions, leaving them unsettled. It's not just about mystery, it's about power. Leaders, innovators, and game changers throughout history have shared this trait. Think of Nikola Tesla, Bruce Lee, or even Steve Jobs. They didn't follow the crowd, they weren't easy to pin down, and that made them fascinating. But this isn't just about others' reactions, it's about you. You don't move through life trying to fit in. You operate on instinct, guided by your own internal compass. Some will admire it, others will fear it. But one thing's for sure, no one will ever forget it. Number 3. You are a walking lie detector. Most people move through life wearing carefully constructed masks. Social norms dictate that they filter their words, hide their real emotions, and present themselves in ways that align with expectations. Whether it's to maintain harmony, avoid conflict, or gain social favor, deception, both small and large, is deeply embedded in human interaction. But you operate on a different level. You don't just hear what people say, you see what they mean. You pick up on the tension behind a forced laugh, the hesitation in an insincere compliment, the subtle flicker in someone's eyes when they're lying. This isn't guesswork. It's a result of heightened observational skills and deep introspection. Studies in psychology suggest that individuals who are highly independent, like Sigma males, develop an acute awareness of micro-expressions, those involuntary facial cues that flash for mere milliseconds, revealing a person's true emotions before they consciously suppress them. But here's where it gets unsettling: you don't even need to expose their dishonesty aloud. Your presence alone puts people on edge because they know you see through them. Most people rely on their ability to bend the truth, sugarcoat their intentions, or use charm to manipulate social situations. When they encounter someone who isn't fooled by any of it, their confidence wavers. They suddenly feel naked, vulnerable, exposed, like their carefully maintained illusion has been shattered. And the irony? You're not even trying to make them uncomfortable. You simply exist as an unfiltered observer of reality, and that alone is enough to make people anxious. Some respect you for it, recognizing the rare ability to perceive truth without distortion. Others fear you because they sense, deep down, that their usual tactics won't work on you. In a world built on deception, being a human lie detector makes you both a mystery and a threat. Number 4. Your silence is louder than words. Silence is one of the most powerful forces in human interaction, yet most people fear it. The average person goes to great lengths to avoid it, turning on the TV for background noise, filling conversations with small talk, mindlessly scrolling through social media just to escape the discomfort of stillness. This isn't just about habit, it's psychological self-preservation. Silence forces reflection, and for many, that's a terrifying experience. It means coming face to face with their own thoughts, insecurities, and fears, the very things they work so hard to suppress. But for you, silence isn't something to be avoided. It's something to be embraced. You don't speak just to fill the air. Every word you say has weight, intention, and purpose. This creates a dynamic that deeply unsettles people. They're used to constant chatter, to words being thrown around without meaning. When they encounter someone who isn't afraid of silence, it makes them question everything. Are they saying too much? Do they sound foolish? Are they being judged? The lack of verbal feedback forces them to confront their own self-doubt. Psychologists suggest that people who are comfortable with silence tend to be highly self-aware and independent thinkers. They don't need constant validation, nor do they feel the urge to prove themselves through endless conversation. Sigma males embody this effortlessly. Your ability to sit in silence, completely at ease, projects an aura of confidence that speaks louder than words ever could. And this is where the intimidation factor comes in. Most people rely on social interaction to gauge where they stand with others. They expect cues, nods of agreement, verbal affirmations, or exaggerated reactions to reinforce their ego. When they get nothing from you, their insecurity skyrockets. They start to wonder, what is he thinking? Why isn't he responding? Does he see right through me? Your silence is a mirror. It forces people to look inward, to acknowledge their own discomfort, to question why they feel uneasy in the presence of someone who simply doesn't need to speak. And that, in itself, is a form of power. In a world addicted to noise, your silence is deafening. Number 5. You challenge social norms. Society thrives on structure, an intricate web of unspoken rules, traditions, and expectations designed to keep people in line. From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to fit in, to obey authority, and to follow a path paved by tradition. Schools teach us to sit still, memorize facts, and regurgitate information rather than question it. Workplaces reward compliance over creativity, promoting those who follow the rules rather than those who challenge them. Social circles pressure us to conform, fearing the outcast more than they fear ignorance. But then there are individuals like you. You refuse to accept things at face value. You challenge outdated traditions, questioning whether they serve any real purpose or if they're simply relics of a bygone era. You think independently, unwilling to let groupthink dictate your choices. You don't follow the crowd, you carve your own path. And in doing so, you become a threat to the status quo. People fear what they do not understand, and nothing is more terrifying than having their worldview shattered. When you challenge social norms, you force people to question the very foundations of their beliefs. If they admit that the system is flawed, they must also admit that they've wasted time blindly following it. That's a hard pill to swallow. It's easier to dismiss you as difficult, rebellious, or even dangerous than to confront the uncomfortable truth that the system they've invested so much in might be broken. History is filled with examples of individuals who dared to challenge the norms and paid the price for it. Galileo challenged the belief that Earth was the center of the universe and was condemned by the Church. Innovators like Nikola Tesla were dismissed as madmen before their ideas changed the world. Every revolution in thought begins with someone daring to ask, what if they're wrong? You are that someone. You disrupt the system, not out of defiance, but because you see beyond the illusion of safety that conformity offers. Your refusal to conform is not just an act of rebellion, it's a testament to your clarity of thought and your commitment to living authentically. You understand that true progress comes from questioning the status quo, from challenging outdated ideas, and from thinking for yourself. While others are content to follow the herd, you choose to lead, even if it means walking alone. This kind of thinking is both rare and powerful. It's what drives innovation, sparks change, and pushes humanity forward. But it's also what makes people uncomfortable. When you challenge social norms, you force them to confront their own complacency. You make them question why they do the things they do, why they believe the things they believe, and whether they're truly living or simply going through the motions. Your ability to see beyond the illusion of conformity is a gift, but it's also a burden. It sets you apart, making you a target for criticism and misunderstanding. But you don't let that deter you. You know that true freedom comes from thinking for yourself, from living authentically, and from refusing to be bound by the expectations of others. In a world that values conformity over creativity, your willingness to challenge the norm is a breath of fresh air. It's a reminder that progress doesn't come from following the rules but from daring to break them. And while it may make others uncomfortable, it's also what makes you a force to be reckoned with. Number 6. You don't fear solitude. Most people panic at the thought of being alone. Solitude, for them, is synonymous with loneliness, a void that must be filled with noise, distractions, and the constant hum of social interaction. They fear the absence of external validation, as if their worth is tied to the approval of others. But you embrace solitude. You don't just tolerate it, you thrive in it. For you, solitude is not a punishment but a sanctuary, a space where you find strength in silence, clarity in your own thoughts, and fulfillment without the need for constant social validation. This ability to be alone and at peace unsettles people because it forces them to confront something they'd rather avoid, their own dependency on others for happiness. Society tells us that happiness is found in the crowd, in the noise of constant connection, and in the approval of others. Social media, groupthink, and the relentless pursuit of belonging have conditioned people to believe that their value is determined by how many likes they get, how many friends they have, or how often they're invited to social events. But you prove otherwise. You show that fulfillment isn't about fitting in or seeking external validation, it's about knowing yourself, understanding your own mind, and being comfortable in your own skin. Psychologists have long studied the human need for social validation. From an evolutionary perspective, our ancestors relied on groups for survival. Being part of a tribe meant protection, shared resources, and a greater chance of survival. This ingrained need for connection has carried over into modern society, but it has morphed into something more insidious, emotional dependence. Many people mistake this dependence for genuine connection. They fear being alone because, deep down, they don't know how to be at peace with themselves. They've never taken the time to sit with their own thoughts, to confront their fears, or to understand their true desires. Your self-sufficiency acts as a mirror, reflecting their own inner emptiness. It's not that they dislike you, it's that they don't like what they see when they look at themselves through your example. When they see you thriving in solitude, they wonder why they can't do the same. They may try to label you as cold, antisocial, or distant, but these labels are just projections of their own insecurities. The truth is, you've simply mastered what they struggle with, self-contentment. The ability to be alone and still be happy is rare. It takes confidence, emotional resilience, and a strong sense of self. It requires you to confront your own fears, to sit with your thoughts, and to find meaning within yourself rather than seeking it from others. While the world clings to distractions, endless scrolling, mindless chatter, and superficial connections, you find power in presence. You understand that true strength comes from within, and that realization is what truly scares them. Your comfort with solitude also gives you a unique edge. It allows you to think deeply, to reflect on your goals, and to make decisions without the noise of outside influence. While others are swayed by the opinions of the crowd, you remain steadfast in your convictions. This independence is both admirable and intimidating. It forces people to question their own reliance on external validation and to confront the uncomfortable truth that they may not know themselves as well as they think they do. In a world that constantly demands our attention and pulls us in 1,000 different directions, your ability to find peace in solitude is a superpower. It's a reminder that the most important relationship we have is the one we have with ourselves. And for those who haven't yet learned that lesson, your presence is a mirror they'd rather not look into. Number 7. You possess an unshakable calm. In a world where emotions often dictate decisions, the ability to remain calm under pressure is a rare and powerful trait. While most people allow fear, anxiety, and panic to cloud their judgment, those who maintain composure gain a strategic advantage. This isn't just a personality trait, it's a skill honed through years of self-discipline, emotional intelligence, and mental resilience. It's the mark of someone who has mastered their inner world, and in doing so, can navigate the chaos of the outer world with grace and precision. Psychological studies show that stress triggers the fight-or-flight response, a primal survival mechanism that floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol. For most people, this results in impulsive reactions, rash decisions, emotional outbursts, or a complete shutdown under pressure. But for those who have trained themselves to stay level-headed, the response is different. They activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking, problem-solving, and decision-making. This allows them to assess situations objectively, even when circumstances are spiraling out of control. This ability to remain calm in the face of chaos is what sets you apart. While others are swept away by the tide of their emotions, you stand firm, like a lighthouse in a storm. Your calmness isn't just a passive state, it's an active force. It allows you to think clearly, act decisively, and maintain control even when everything around you is falling apart. This is why, in high-pressure situations, people naturally look to you for guidance. Your presence alone is reassuring, a reminder that not all is lost, that there is still a way forward. Throughout history, leaders and strategists who mastered this skill have shaped the course of events. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, whose writings and meditations emphasize the power of controlling one's perception and reactions rather than being swayed by external chaos. He believed that true strength lies in remaining steady, no matter the turmoil. His ability to lead an empire while maintaining inner peace is a testament to the power of unshakable calm. In modern times, this principle applies everywhere, from high-stakes negotiations to emergency situations. Consider a firefighter assessing a burning building, a surgeon performing a critical operation, or a seasoned investor navigating a market crash. These individuals succeed not because they're immune to stress, but because they've learned to manage it. They don't allow emotions to take over. Instead, they channel their focus into what needs to be done. This ability to remain composed under pressure is what separates the exceptional from the ordinary. Your calmness, however, goes beyond mere practicality. It's a reflection of your inner strength and self-mastery. While others are easily rattled by setbacks, criticism, or unexpected challenges, you remain unfazed. You understand that external circumstances are beyond your control, but your reactions are not. This mindset gives you a profound sense of freedom. You're not a prisoner of your emotions, you're the master of them. People fear what they don't understand, and someone who remains unmoved when others are panicking can seem intimidating. It's not arrogance, it's self-mastery. In a world where chaos is inevitable, the ability to remain composed is not just an asset, it's a superpower. It allows you to navigate life's challenges with a sense of purpose and clarity that others can only dream of. Your calmness also has a ripple effect on those around you. In a crisis, people often mirror the emotions of those in leadership. If you panic, they panic. But if you remain calm, they feel reassured. Your composure becomes a stabilizing force, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is a way forward. This is why people are drawn to you in times of uncertainty. Your calmness isn't just a personal trait, it's a gift to those around you. But this ability doesn't come without effort. It's the result of years of self-reflection, discipline, and practice. You've learned to detach from the noise, to focus on what truly matters, and to let go of what you can't control. You've cultivated a deep sense of inner peace that allows you to face life's challenges with equanimity. In a world that often feels like it's spinning out of control, your unshakable calm is a beacon of stability. It's a reminder that true power doesn't come from external achievements, but from inner strength. And while it may make others uncomfortable, because it forces them to confront their own lack of control, it's also what makes you a force to be reckoned with. Your calmness is more than just a trait, it's a way of life. It's a testament to your resilience, your wisdom, and your ability to rise above the chaos. And in a world that desperately needs more stability, it's a superpower that sets you apart. Number 8. You force people to confront themselves. Your very existence is a mirror. Whether you realize it or not, the way you carry yourself, the way you refuse to conform, and the way you see through deception force people to confront something they often avoid. A Sigma male is not just independent, he is self-sufficient, introspective, and unshaken by societal pressures. In a world where many follow the crowd, a man who chooses his own path becomes a disruptor. You don't seek approval, and you don't follow trends. That alone unsettles people because it forces them to ask themselves, why do I need validation? Why do I follow instead of lead? This is why your presence can be intimidating. You hold up a mirror without even trying. People aren't reacting to you, they're reacting to themselves. Your ability to see through deception is another unsettling trait. Many people build their lives on comfortable illusions about their careers, relationships, or even their own self-worth. When you effortlessly detect lies, manipulation, or superficiality, it challenges them. It forces them to acknowledge truths they'd rather ignore. Most aren't ready for that level of self-awareness. It's easier to reject you than to face their own fears. That's why some people may label you as cold, arrogant, or difficult. It's not about you, it's about them protecting their own fragile self-image. But here's the truth, Sigma, this is your power. The discomfort you create isn't a weakness, it's evidence that you operate on a higher level of consciousness. It's the reason you stand out without trying. So don't dim your light to make others comfortable. Keep being the mirror. The right people will see you not as a threat but as an inspiration. Sigmas, what you unknowingly do is not just powerful, it's transformative. You don't set out to instill fear, but your mere presence disrupts the illusions people cling to. And that is what makes you a force to be reckoned with. If you found this video insightful or relatable, why not join our growing community? Subscribe to the channel for more content exploring the mindsets, traits, and behaviors of Sigma males. Your engagement helps us dive deeper into these unique perspectives. Be sure to like this video if it resonated with you, share it with someone who might appreciate it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Remember, as a Sigma male or someone inspired by their path, staying true to yourself is the ultimate strength. Keep evolving, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next video.